Okay, hello all. Yesterday we created smart form, a basic smart form, and call the smart form in driver program to trigger the smart form, right? Since it's a custom program, we created a custom driver program to trigger the or to print the that smart form layout. Okay, let's see the program again. So this is the sample program we created. We are selecting one record from MEKT and we are passing that single record to smart form function module, right? To print the smart form. Since we have only one importing parameter, we defined only one importing parameter, that is MEKT. What is the function module we are calling? This one, right? Which is generated for the smart form. So did we create this function module or it is auto generated? Did we create the function module or is it auto generated function module?
Auto generated, sir.
It is generated automatically. We did not create it. Whenever we create the smart form, this function module is automatically generates. How this name will be assigned? A random or a sequence name will be assigned, right? Next, for the next smart form, if you create a next smart form, it will generate SF00010. For the next smart form, 11. For the next smart form, 12. Like this, it will generate in a sequence. This is not a constant name, right? What happens when you transport or when you, so we assign smart forms to a transport request, because to apply the test system onto production system, we need to add this to transport request, right? So once you add this to transport request and release the smart form to test system. Now in test system, it will generate a new function module. In test system, it will automatically generate one more function module, a new function module, which is completely different from development system. In development system, it generates the name, depends on the sequence, depends on one sequence. In test system, it will generate another function module, name, another name, depends on the sequence available in the test system, right? So if you directly call the name in the program, what will happen? When you move this program to test system, can we find this function module in test system?
No, sir.
No, right? Because in test system, it will generate a new function module name, right? In such cases, we should not directly call the function module. For example, in development system, you are executing it, it is working fine. It is providing the output, right? Now let's say you transported this program and smart form to the test system. Then what will happen? It will generate a new function module. For example, 11, right? Now what is the function module we are calling? 09, right? In the program. But when you transported it, it will generate a different function module name, that is 11. It cannot find this function module. What will happen? It cannot find this function module in the test system. Let me add some random values. Let's assume now we are in test system and this is the function module that we generated. Now execute. Function module not found, right? Whatever the function module you are using in development system, we cannot find in the test system. So you will get runtime exceptions if you directly call the function module like this. Change it. So that's why we have a separate process to call the smart form. Looks like I have to add one more zero. Smart form, even Adobe form. We follow almost same process to call the smart forms and Adobe forms. We don't directly call the function module name. First we call one special function module, that is let me go to pattern. We'll start with the SSF underscore function underscore, I think, let me search SSF function module name. Sorry. So SSF function module name. What is this function module? Open this in SC37. Execute the function module. So what is the input for this function module? Form name. Form name nothing but smart
Form.
form name. Smart form or Adobe form name. What is our smart form name? What is our smart form name? This one, right? ZDemo sample form is our form name. Provide the input as form name and execute this function module. So what is the output? Exporting parameter, what is it returning?
Function module.
Function module name. It is returning function module name, right? So if you execute in test system, it will give a different function module automatically. If you execute in production system, it will give the function module which is generated in production system automatically. Okay. So first we need to call this function module. It is very important interview question. How to call smart forms or Adobe forms in the driver program. We need to use a SSF function module name. So it will take form name as input and return a function module name as output. So why we need to use this? Because smart form generates a separate function module in development system, test system and production system. We should not directly call the function module in the program, right? So for that reason we use SSF function module to get the to read the function module and call that. Now let's call this function module in our program. Before calling the smart form function module, let's keep it as it is. First what you need to do, call as it is. Call the smart form function module directly. Use the name, actual function module name available in development system and call it and pass all the importing parameters and return all the exporting parameters, right? Keep it as it is. Then before this smart form function module, call SSF function module. Pattern SSF function module name. This is the function module. Call it. Now what is the input for this? What is the input for this? Form name. Make it as a constant. Don't pass directly. Create it as a constant and pass it here. The type of the constant will be like this one. Go to importing parameters and check what is the form name parameter. This one. TDSF name. Okay. This is the data element for form name. Create a constant. Pass that here. Right. Provide the constant name here. Then what it's going to return? What is the output of this? Function module name. Function module name. It will return a function module name. To capture this value, we need some variable or work area, right? In the calling program. So what is the type of this? Export function module name. So it's a data element. That means it's a single value input, variable like input. Define one variable data lv underscore fm name type, right? And return that fm name here. So we'll get function module name to this variable. Now copy this. If fm name is not initial, then call the smart form function module. Here, in place of function module name, just replace with the variable name. Don't use single quotes. In place of function module, just keep this variable name. So whatever the function module it returns, it will call that function module name dynamically. Okay, clear? Let me debug and check how it is working. So RC0. So we are passing form name F6. So it returns the function module name, right? And we are calling whatever the function module it is returned by SSF function module name. We are not hard coding it, right? We are not hard coding the function module. So if you move this program and form to the test system, it will automatically detect the respective function module generated in test system and it will call that function module, right? Print preview. So this is how it will call the function module. So what is the function module we need to use? SSF underscore function underscore module underscore name.
So what is driver program, sir?
Yeah, driver program is nothing but the program which we are using to trigger the smartphone. This is the driver program, right? The program which we are using to trigger the smartphone, selecting the data and passing the data to smartphone function module here, right? So it will trigger the
Okay.
smartphone. So the program which we use to trigger the smartphone, we call it as driver program.
Driver
It is
program.
normal report program.
Okay.
Don't confuse. It is normal report program. Whatever we created so far, the data selection and everything is same.
Okay, sir.
Validations, inputs, initialization, and everything is same.
Yes,
Only
sir.
different thing is we call smart form function module here to generate the smart form output. In our previous programs, we generated ALV output, right?
Yes, sir.
We call the ALV function module and display the output in ALV format. Here, we are going to print the output using smart forms.
SMARTFORMS.
Is it everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Now we'll see conditions, how conditions will work. How can we display the data? Depends on some condition. I'll use the same form, change it. So in some cases, in some cases, we need to print data depends on some condition. For example, depends on some material type. We display one logo. For the different material type, we display different logo. Or for example, if you take any companies, MNCs, they operate in different companies. They use different logo in different companies, right? Different logo in different companies. If the company code is 100, display one logo. If company code is 200, display different logo. That is one scenario. Or sometimes we need to display data only one specific condition is true. Otherwise, we should not display that data, right? So how can we make that conditions? Here, first we'll see how logo will work. It is same for all windows. You can set these conditions in window level, or these text elements are logo graphic level. Okay. Here you can see conditions, right? Go to logo window. So if you want to completely hide the logo, depends on some condition, add the condition in window level. Okay. Or if you want to hide logo, only in the logo level. You don't want to hide entire logo window, but you want to hide only individual logo. Then keep that condition in that individual element level, right? Now for this logo, double click on the logo. Now I'll add some condition here. Maybe first I'll add one importing parameter. IV underscore company code type. It's a single value input. Okay. Let's assume it's a single value input. Type Bookers. Bookers is the company code. Now depends on the company code. I want to display logo. Now go to window, logo window, double click on the logo, go to conditions. When IV company code equal to, in single quotes, 0, 100, then display this logo. Display this logo 1. Okay, activate. When we are trying to print a different company code, when we are trying to print this form for a different company code, then create one more logo, graphic, logo 2. Provide some company code. Now in conditions, I'll add IV company code equal to, then only I will print this logo, logo 2. Otherwise, we are going to hide it, right? And this one also, for this one, for this window, I'll add some condition. For example, this one. If IV underscore company code equal to 100, then only display this data, whatever available in main window. I'm adding condition to the main window. Now, if this condition is true, then only display main window, otherwise don't display it. I'm adding that condition here. Activate the form. Now we did some changes to the form, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
We added one importing parameter. Can we go to the program and directly execute the program again? No, right? Because we
Sir.
added one more importing parameter. Is that optional or mandatory? We did not select the
Mandate.
we did not select these, right? Then this is a mandatory parameter. So we should call the function module again. We should call the smart form function module again in the program. Simple. Call the function module. Keep the SSF. You don't need to change SSF function module name. Keep it as it is. Go to pattern. Call the smart form function module. I'll remove this. Pass ls mat. Pass company code, or I'll define something here. Parameters. Hookers. Company code is here. Enable or remove these exporting parameters. That's it, right? So in place of the function module name, pass this variable name, whatever the output returned by SSF function module. Or I'll keep it Lucas. Length is more than 8 characters. Now let's pass company code as 100. Oh, we forgot one thing in the form level. We did not add the second logo, right? We just created the graphic, but we did not add the logo here. Let me add a logo. Go to SC78. Find one logo. Looks like we have a separate logo. Let me add this logo here. Rest of the things are same. Graphics, bitmap image, color bitmap image. Save and activate. When this logo will display, what is the condition? When we pass the company code 200. Yeah, execute the form. Looks like I removed an additional importing parameter. Short dump, because you're not passing a mandatory importing parameter here. I looks like I've removed it. What is this? I am MAKT, I think. ls underscore MAKT. Okay. Now what is the company code we are passing from the driver program? 100, right? So check the logo. So this logo is displaying, right? Now go back and execute the program again with the different company code. 200, execute. We are passing company code 200. Print preview. I think I have to adjust this logo properly. I have to align this logo properly. It is overlapping. Okay, so it is displaying a different logo and it is not displaying the data which is in main window. That is also gone because we have added a condition, right, for main window. Display the data which is in main window only if company code is 100, right? We have added that condition. Okay, this is how we add conditions to the smartphone. Is everyone clear about SSF function module name? It is very important. Even in interview point of view, it will a very frequently asked interview question. So you should not just say SSF function module name, but you should be able to explain why we need to use it. Okay, why we need to use SSF function module name to call the smartphone? Because it generates a different function module name in development system, test system, and production system. We should not directly call that function module, right? If you call the function module name directly, it will give runtime errors when you transport this form to test system. To avoid that, we use SSF function module name to get the function module name and call that function module name dynamically, right? Is everyone clear on this?
Yes, sir.
Now let's create a smart form to display table data. Now just we are just displaying one single record here using importing parameters, but let's see how to display data in table format. Okay, how to display data in the table format, we'll see now. Let me add table to the same form. So what is the property of main window?
It will extend automatically based on the data.
Yes. I'll keep this header text like material text or something we are populating, right? So whatever the header data we need to display, I'll keep that in a secondary window. But because header data is always fixed, right? There will be only one record. If you take purchase order record, there will be only one header record. But items can be multiple, right? We don't know how many items the user will be created. For that, we use a dynamic window, that is main window. Let me keep this data item header level data in this secondary window. Let me name it as header. Now in main window, we'll display the transactions. Before that, I'll remove the conditions. How can you identify there is a condition created for that particular element? You can see this symbol, right? This blue color symbol. That means there is a condition available for this, right? I'll remove the condition for main window. Now, first we'll select the data. First we'll select the data, some data. Do we have any existing program with some data? Where GPO data is not there. We have this one, right? We are selecting PO data, right? Let me copy as it is. I'll use the same or I'll just copy the program itself. Existing report program, interactive report program we created, right? I'm just copying that program. PO data, form, copy, copy everything, change it. So I'll remove this field catalog and everything because I don't need field catalog for ALV functionality, right? I'll remove this. I'll keep as it is till here. What I need to do? We need to display or we need to print this data in ALV format, right? Sorry, in smart form. But here the PO data, is it a single record or multiple records? We are going to get multiple records, right? When we join EKKO and EKPO. So I want to display this data in a tabular format in smart form. So first we need to design the table in smart form level. Now we have the data. To pass this data to the smart form, we need one importing parameter, right? So what is the type of this data? So we are selecting EBLN, date, listener, EBLP, Matner, total price, right? So what we need to do to create any importing parameter to the function module for these fields, what we need to do? We need to create one importing parameter to pass the internal table data of these fields with this structure. What we need to create? We need a data dictionary structure, right? We need a data dictionary structure to define with these fields. Let's create a data dictionary structure with these fields. Create structure EBLN, type EBLN, the same order. Whatever the order we are using here, create in the same order. AEDAT, type AEDAT, listener, what is the type? ELIFN, EBLP, Matner, and NETWR. Since we are using currency field, right? We should do some additional setting in the smart form. Reference unit should be maintained. Activate the structure. For now, save it in the local object. So do we need to define internal table like structure or work area like structure? Currency and quantity fields we need to maintain. So what type of structure we need to maintain? Internal table like structure or work area like structure?
Internal table.
So we need to define internal table like structure. Maintain the reference field, the structure. So can we define internal table like structure using structure name, function module, or in smart form?
No,
If we use structure name, it acts as
yes,
a work area like structure, right? But we have another option, tables option,
yes.
but that is obsolete, right? Outdated. If we use tables option, it will take it as an internal table, right? But what we need to do to use importing parameters and pass the internal table like structure, create
Table type.
t underscore. See, by looking at your structure name or table type name, you should easily identify whether it is a table or structure. Okay. Provide proper naming conventions. Line type is the structure name. Activate it. Go to form interface. Go to importing parameters. I'll remove this. I'll remove this. Since you are already having some idea on this, I'll remove MAKT and everything. Remove this. I'll keep the company code since I've used some conditions on this. IT underscore PO data type table type name. Provide the table type name. Right now, syntax check. I am MAKT is unknown. Global definitions. Looks like we are referring this I am MAKT somewhere here. Code initialization. Yeah, I'll remove this. Save. Check. We are using this I am MAKT and Mara in the text. I think not in the title text. Here we are using. I'll delete this for now. I think header text. Because I have deleted this importing parameter, right? And I am referring those fields here to print it. So I'll just delete it here. Check the syntax. Now, now we need to create a table to display tabular data. I'll keep it in a main window. Why? Because we don't know, right? Transactions, we don't know how many transactions it's going to generate, right? How many line items data we are going to generate. We don't know. So, sir, depends on the data. It should expand to the next page, right? Create.
Sir, you're on mute, sir.
Oh, sorry. So now let's create the table. Now let's create the table in main window. Okay. Let's create the table in main window. Why only in main window? Tabular data can be expanded, right? Depends on number of records to the next page. So keep this kind of tabular data in main window. Create table. When you create the table, it generates three different sections: header, main area, and footer. Header means header text. Main area, the actual data what we display. Footer means footer text. Pivot data table. I just changed the table name. Now observe carefully the design of the table. First create the table. Now let's go to details. Go to details. Here you can see total table width. What is total table width? 15.92 centimeters. You can increase it, you can decrease it, depends on the requirement. Okay. Alignment. Horizontal alignment, left alignment is selected. Okay. So this is the total table width. Now how many columns we have? How many fields we have to display on the form? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 fields we have. That doesn't mean that we need to display all 6 fields. We can choose whatever the fields we want to display. Okay. Depends on that. Divide your total table width. Divide your total table width into all these different columns. Okay. For example, I'll make it as 16 centimeters. And here for the first column EBLN, how many? 3 centimeters. What is the rest of the size we have? 13, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Another 3 for maybe I'll use 2 centimeters for item level data EBLP. 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. What is the remaining length? 5, 8, 11, 11, 3, 14. We have 2 centimeters left, right? To show the more columns, use this arrow, 2 centimeters. I've divided this total table width into different columns, right? Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
So I've divided this total table width for, and I've assigned some specific size for each column of the table in centimeters by dividing the total table length, right? Now go to table painter to format it, like to provide some formatting like boxes, some like table is wider than window. Looks like what is the total length of this window? Output options 15.92. But what is our table size?
16.
16, right? So maybe let's increase table width. Sorry, window width. Now check. Now I am in details. Sorry, I've assigned the space. Now go to table painter. Here you can select borders and shadings. Borders and shadings. Click on this. Select pattern. How you want to display the table, right? I'll select this. Okay. I've selected this pattern. Framed pattern. I'll select framed pattern. Now I've designed the table, but what about the data? We need to populate the data, right? What is the source? What is the source for this table? What is the data source for this table? This one, right? PO data importing parameter,
Yeah.
right? Go to data, provide here internal table name. In place of internal table name, provide PO data as internal table. What about here? Here you need to provide into one work area. Provide one structure name. Did we define this already? PO data? No, right? Let's define this in global declarations, global definitions. LS PO data type. What is the type of this? The same structure what we used for importing parameter. This one. Use structure name. For the importing parameter, we have used table type, but here use structure name. PO data. Check. Okay. In data. So we are providing internal table into work area so that it will populate records one by one to the table. Or you can conditionally populate. For example, from record 1 to record 10, I want to print only those records. If you want to do that, you can provide that condition flag. Okay. In output options, in conditions, you can provide the condition if you want to display this data, depends on some condition, right? Calculations, we'll see that later. Now we are populating the data, but what about the header? We need to design the header. We need to design the header. For that, what we need to do? First, we need to create the header list. Like header, you got it right. A description of the field. Create table line. Create table line. Create table line. Line type. Select it as line type. Now select line type is nothing but this one. In tables, we divided total length into 6 parts, right? So that is the line type. When you select it here, it will automatically populate that. Or you can go to table details. So here, this is the line type. You can also change this name. You can also change this name. Header. Since we change this, we need to I'll delete this and create again. Right click on the header, create table line. Select the line type. It will automatically populate the columns, right? So what is the first column I want to display? I'll rename it to PO number. Next one, PO item. Next one, material. Next one, vendor. Next one, what are the other fields we have? Created date, right? Created date. Next one, total price, right? Now our headers are ready. Our headers are ready. Now what is the next thing we need to create? We need to create the text. What is the text you want to populate? Create text. For the first one, what is this text? Go to general attributes. Go to general attributes tab, and what is the text you want to display as header for purchase order number? PO number or PO num, whatever. Okay. Next one, for PO item also create header text. Create text. PO item. Create header text for the material. Material. Create text for vendor. You don't need to display all fields. If you don't want to display any one of them, you can remove that. You can remove that from the table. Okay. And adjust the length accordingly. Create a date. Total price. Text created. I've created the header text. Next, what about actual data? Actual data we are going to print in main area. Right click on the main area. Create. Create table line. Again, select the table what we selected, what we created, and then here create text. Create text here. It is little different. Create text. Here what we need to display? In main area what we need to display? Actual values, right? Which are populating from the internal table or importing parameter. Now we cannot type directly. We cannot directly type the data here. What we need to do here? Insert. Insert field. What is the name we need to provide here? EBLN. ls underscore po data hyphen EBLN, like this. For the next column, what is the next column? PO item, right? Create text. And insert field EBLP. Next, third column. What is third column? Material. Right click. Create text. Insert. material. What is the next field? Vendor. Insert field for vendor, that is listener. Create text. LSPO data. What is the next field? The listener. You have created it. AEDAT. Is everyone able to follow?
Yes, sir.
You need to practice this. You need to create multiple times to understand this navigation. It is little confusing, like creating this header, main area and everything. But if you practice it multiple times, you can easily do it. Insert the text. Your data hyphen. What is this field? NET network. Okay. Now we have created mostly we created all the fields. What is the next thing? Save it. Activate it. Sorry. Oh, sorry. It's not material, right? It's Matner. I've used. Which one is this? PO data. Third one. It's not material. Don't do anything here. Just delete it and insert the symbol again. Matner. Save it. Test it. Sorry. Check the syntax. So no syntax errors. Activate the form. First, let's test here. Test in the form level how it is working. It generated a function module. So pass some importing parameters. For company code, I'll pass some data, 200. And for importing parameters, it's internal table, right? I'll provide some data, some junk values. To add one more record to this internal table, new line, add data. Okay, and go back. I've added two records. Execute LP01, print preview. Okay, we got some exception. What it is saying? ls PO data network unknown in the field, reference field. So we got the error for reference field, right? Because we did not maintain reference field in the form for that network. where we maintain that reference fields, go to global data. When we have currency and quantity fields, you need to maintain those reference fields here. What is the reference field? ls PO data hyphen netwr. I'll maintain on local declaration, for example lv underscore rs type for the reference field, because I'm not populating it from the structure. What is the reference field here? WAERS. Yeah, it's the same data element we take. I'll use this as a reference field. I'll use this as a reference field here. Okay. Is it a currency or quantity? Currency, right? Select it as currency. If you are passing it from the structure, you can use this as reference. Pass the structure name and the reference field name. Okay. Form is activated. Now let's test this. Test it again. 200. I'll add some sample data. New line. Go back. Print it. LP01. Print preview. These are the two records, right? We are displaying. I think logo is overlapping on the main window. We need to adjust main window, or we need to decrease the size of logo using that resolution option. Form painter. I'm not displaying any data in header window, right? I'm not using any data. Now let's call this form in our program. This is the function module. Go to program. Call the form. If lt underscore PO data is not initial, and if PO data are final. We can take any of them since we are already populating data to final. Go to pattern, provide the function module name. Now what are the inputs for this? Company code, I'll just hard code the company code because we don't have any importing parameter for company code here, or either we are not selecting the company code. I'll remove up to here. PO data, for PO data, I'll pass LT final. Make sure this LT final structure and this ITPO data structure are same. What is the structure of this LT final? This one, right? This type structure. Make sure this one, whatever the structure you created, both are compatible in same order, right? Same fields in the same order. Since we should not pass the importing parameter data as it is, Let's call SSF function module name now. Pass the form name. What is the form name? This one. Define one importing parameter for function module name. FM name type. This one. This is the data element. Type this one. Instead of function module name, replace this with the FM name. That's it. Check. Activate. We'll keep the breakpoint here. I'm not providing any date. Maybe I'll provide some date. Uh, or leave it for now. How many records? 35 records selected. 35 records are selected. Now all 35 records should be printed in a smart form. So we got the function module name and execute the function module. Provide local printer name, print preview, right? So this is the title and this is the logo, and this is how it will display item level data. Okay. So we need to do some small settings even, right? But you can also do change the formatting of the table. You can also change the formatting of the table by using this format options. Change it. Go to table. In output options, you can change the box colors and shadings. Okay. If you want to print data in a different color, you can change the color. Colors and shading you can change. Okay. I think we need to regenerate the program, reopen the program whenever we do some changes. Execute. Okay, let's see all these miscellaneous options in the next session. I think it's already late. Any questions on this? Please practice. It is a little confusing until you create one or two tables. Okay.
Yes, sir.